Have you ever stayed up until 2 in the morning, your eyes straining against the harsh blue light of your phone screen, your fingers typing frantically, all just to win an argument with a stranger online? Or, even more painfully, have you ever traded a 10-year relationship just to prove you were right in a 10-minute debate? There is a very strange feeling that comes over people who are obsessed with winning. When you finally back someone into a corner with your logic, there is a sudden rush of triumph, but right after that high, there is a hollow, cold, and lonely emptiness. You won the argument, but you lost your peace. Today, we invite you to step onto Vulture Peak to look deeply into a single question. What happens when a man so arrogant that he has never lost a single debate is backed into a corner and completely disarmed by a question as light as a feather? Let us step back over 2,000 years. Leave behind the frantic clicking of modern keyboards and step into the howling mountain, wind sweeping across the barren cliffs of the boar's cave. Dry branches snap underfoot. A wanderer is walking toward the Buddha. His name is Dighanakha. Dighanakha was not a violent street brawler. He was a scholar, a sharp, fiercely proud philosopher, carrying the massive, invisible burden of a man who had never tasted defeat. People called him the long-nailed philosopher. Those long, dirt-caked, curved fingernails were not just a sign of his wandering life. They were a perfect metaphor for his mind, always reaching out, always grasping, always waiting to claw and tear apart any view that contradicted his own. The air inside the cave was pulled tight, like a bowstring about to snap, but all that pressure came from one side. Dighanakha stood there, his eyes piercing, his body leaning forward, his long fingers constantly twitching. Inside his head, thousands of thoughts and tens of thousands of verbal spears were lining up for battle. He craved the chance to trample the views of the man sitting in front of him. He craved the chance to prove the absolute superiority of his own brilliant mind. And then, he unleashed the philosophical weapon he was most proud of. A statement he believed would lock down any possible counter-argument. Dighanakha's voice was sharp. Listen to me, ascetic Gautama. I do not accept anything in this world. All views are flawed, and I agree with absolutely none of them. His bold declaration struck the cave walls and echoed into the open air. Dighanakha held his breath, waiting. He waited for pushback. He waited for an argument. He even hoped the Buddha would bring out some high philosophy to defend himself. If he did, Dighanakha's sharp claws of logic were ready to tear it to shreds. But instead of the explosive counterattack he expected, he was met with a profound, unbroken silence. In the deep quiet of the mountain, the awakened one slowly opened his eyes. There was not a trace of anger or challenge in his gaze, only a vast, piercing clarity. He looked directly at the fiercely proud philosopher. When he finally spoke, his voice was entirely calm, yet it carried the power to dismantle an entire belief system. Dighanakha, you say that you do not accept any view. Tell me, do you accept that very view of yours? Dighanakha froze. His hands, with their long curved nails ready to strike, stopped mid-air. The Buddha's words were as light as a feather, yet they had just pushed the proud scholar into a devastating dead end. Built by the very intellect he was so proud of, it was a perfect trap of logic, and he had set it himself. If Dighanakha answered, "Yes, I accept this view," he would immediately contradict himself. breaking his own rule of accepting nothing. But if, he answered, "No, I do not accept my own view either," then everything he had just said became completely meaningless. He would be erasing his own argument. The man who had never lost a debate was now locked tight in a cage forged by his own words. His intellectual pride shattered. The heavy armor of the wise philosopher fell away, revealing an exhausted human being, completely drained from the constant, desperate need to prove his superiority. And this is where the story turns. Because that exact moment of collapse, ironically, it is the exact same feeling many of us taste every single day. Think back to the last time you were furious over a comment online. Blood rushing to your head, heart beating out of your chest. You typed furiously, unleashing your sharpest logic and most damaging words to crush the other person. You hit send. The other person went silent. You won. But that night, your mind was pulled as tight as a wire. Sleep completely rejected you. You tossed and turned in the grim blue light of your screen, holding onto a cheap, empty win while a storm raged inside you. Or maybe it was in a meeting at work. You just used flawless logic to completely dismantle a coworker's idea. You proved them completely wrong. The entire room sank into a suffocating silence. No one argued back. But when the meeting ended, no one wanted to walk out with you. You were entirely right, but you were completely alone. Just like Dighanakha, we grow long fingernails in our own minds. We use our intelligence, logic, and reasoning to claw and tear at the views of others. We think that by defending our opinion, we are defending the truth. But here is the uncomfortable truth. We are only gritting our teeth to save face for a small and frightened ego. Back in the boar's cave, the quiet voice of the awakened one spoke again, pulling Dighanakha out of his frozen state. The Buddha did not use any more sharp logic to attack him. He simply untangled the philosopher's gridlock with a plain truth. Any view, no matter how brilliant, is only a fragment of reality. It is never the whole truth. But when we fuse our entire identity with an opinion, we fall into the trap of clinging. When someone argues back, we think they are trampling on the truth. But in reality, they are only touching our swollen, fragile ego. Holding onto the desperate need to always be right is like grabbing a burning, red-hot coal with your bare hands, just to throw it at someone else. Whether that coal hits its target or misses entirely, your own hand is the first to blister and burn. The weapon of logic works the exact same way. The more you sharpen it to stab others, the more your own mind becomes scarred, anxious, and restless. That desperate urge to win, that burning anger, they are just passing emotions. You do not have to hold them so tightly. You do not have to be their slave. Hearing this, Dighanakha's heavy, racing breath began to slow. The suffocating tension in the cave melted away like ice turning to water. His long fingers, which had been curled and ready to claw, slowly relaxed and fell heavily to his sides. He bowed deeply to the Buddha. He was no longer a fiercely proud scholar carrying the crushing weight of a man who could never lose. He was simply a human being who understood the truth, tasting the absolute, weightless relief of letting go for the very first time. True freedom does not come from winning every argument. True freedom comes from no longer needing to argue at all. The next time the clock strikes 2 in the morning, when the blood rushes to your head over a comment online and your fingers fly frantically across the keyboard, Before you hit send, pause for one single breath. Ask yourself, am I speaking up to clarify the truth, or am I just trying to feed a hungry ego? If the answer is your ego, put the phone down. Do not trade your deep inner peace for a cheap, empty victory made of text. Knowing you are right is enough. You do not need to force the whole world to its knees to admit it. Let your hands lift away from the keyboard. Let the glowing screen go dark, just like Dighanakha on that very day. In the deep, sweeping silence of Vulture Peak, a crisp, sharp sound echoed through the air. The sound of cutting away those long, curved fingernails that were once used to claw at the world. The heavy armor of pride fell away, leaving behind only the sound of the pure mountain wind and a mind that was finally completely free.